Hello and welcome to the Sound Lab podcast interviews unedited. On today's show, we have interviews from Ashes to New, Makes My Blood Dance, Macy Gary Marks, and we throw back to one of the first ever interviews I did back in 2014 with Taylor Momsen of The Pretty Reckless. Yes, that's all coming up on today's show. So without further ado, let's kick off with our first interview from Ashes to New. How are you?
I'm great, man. How are you doing?
Good, yeah, not too bad. So after this interview, we'll be playing a single of yours called Drag Me. Tell us a bit about the single, first of all.
Yeah, it's a song that opens the record, and I think does a great job of setting up the theme and the metaphors that come along with the record. And it's about going through your life and you know happy little existence until something happens and pulls you down, whether it's a person or a substance or whatever it is. Something in your life pulls you down out of your rhythm, and then next thing you know, you're fighting for your life. So there's a lot of heaven and hell, going through life and the ups and downs in the record. And this one is kind of like being pulled down, hence the name. So it's a really great song. It's top 20 at rock radio currently. So we're really excited about that. And the fans really dig the song. So we're excited.
Good, yeah, absolutely. And as mentioned, it is coming off your new record, Reflections, which is out April 17th. What can we expect to hear on the record?
You're gonna hear some guitar and some drums. You'll probably hear some singing and screaming. Um, you're gonna hear a lot of classic, I think, from Ashes to New sounds that you're used to, as well as some evolutions and some new things that we maybe haven't done before. And I think this record is both its own thing and also an evolution of kind of what we did on Blackout. So it's going to be a great record. I think people are going to love it.
Good, yeah. And 5 records in now and a bunch of EPs too. How does this record sound in comparison to those?
Oh my gosh, man, if you go back far enough, we don't even sound like the same band, I feel like sometimes. Aside from the fact that there are two identifiable voices that you can follow along to. Um, we're different people with different interests, and so I think that there's a lot of things that have changed over the years, especially with what we wanted to do. I think when we first got together and put out a record, we were trying to really go for something maybe like a little more mainstream and radio friendly, and then we figured out that we're like, you know what, we all love these heavier bands, we all love heavier music. Let's just go for it. Like, let's do what we want to do and make ourselves happy. And I think that the trajectory from there just kept going crazy. So Reflections, comparatively to, like, an album like the Future, is like night and day, I feel like.
Fair enough. No, fair enough. And the sound that you've made with this record, was it the sound you wanted, or was it kind of how it turned out as you were writing and recording it?
A little bit of both. I think there were kind of both things happened at the same time, where there was an intention of what we wanted to do, and then there were also sometimes things would come up and we're like, hey, that's cool, like let's do that thing. um but ultimately at the end of the day, it all comes out of us. So if it came out of us, it's something that we wanted to make. So there's definitely a bit of both, though.
No, fair enough. And I'm sure you wrote more than what made it onto the record. What happens to those now? Is it a case of trying them again down the line to see if they work for the future, or will it be a case of starting afresh when the time comes?
We keep those songs chained up in the basement, never to see the light of day. We give it food once a week just to keep it maybe alive, but we never let those songs out ever. We keep them hidden away in the darkness. We went into the studio and we put out. I mean, we put in a bunch of effort, wrote a bunch of songs, and trashed most of it, and started over essentially, and made this record. We just didn't feel like it was up to par, and there were maybe certain moments that we kept, and were able to put in different songs where it fit. But for the most part, we got rid of a lot of what we did, and we have hidden that away as deep and as far away as we can.
Well, if you guys are still going in 20, 30 years' time, they might come out and bear themselves to the world, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, if someone gets a hold of one of our hard drives, God forbid, they'll probably get out somehow.
Let's hope that doesn't come to fruition, or maybe we do. Um, I like to talk about the writing process as well. So for you and you guys, how do tracks normally start off?
Yeah, it can kind of it can start from anywhere. Sometimes it's a melody, or sometimes it's a guitar riff. Sometimes it's a lyric in a certain rhythm. Other times we're just pick a tempo, strum some chords, and let's see if something happens over it. There's really a bunch of starting points that you can have, and all that matters is whether that evolves into something great or not. So there's no strict formula or like, okay, here we go, start writing lyrics, and then we'll form everything else around that. It's very just kind of what are we feeling that day? Does anyone have anything musically or lyrically or maybe a melody that we can use as a starting point, and then we just go from there.
Yeah, and for you personally, when you go into the room with everyone else, do you go in with ideas, lyrics, melody kind of ready to go and to show to the others, or is it a case of doing it all in the room?
Sure. Yeah, there's some stuff that we do all in the room together that we figure out as we go, but everybody kind of will bring at least, a couple things that can be worked on and brought to the finish line. So there's a bit of both in that world too. So we all try to have as much as we can bring to the table ahead of time. That always, in my opinion, leads to the best results, because the more stuff you've got to work with, the better it's going to be.
Yeah, no, definitely. And both you and Matt do vocals in the
Yep.
band. How do you allocate who does what and timing wise? Because obviously you've got different vocal styles, but
Yeah.
how does the timing and the lyrics fit?
Yeah, so we just feel it out based on the part. I would say 90% of the time it's like, okay, this is a chorus. We're not gonna do anything, rap wise in the chorus unless, like a song like Heartache, where it starts out with Matt yelling something and then I sing. That was one thing where it was kind of like an aha moment, like, hey, we can put some rap in the chorus. 90% of the time though, where it's like, okay, this verse feels like it's a rap moment, so let's figure out the style of rap that we want and how we want it to be, and then is the pre-chorus also going to be Matt? We try to keep it balanced as much as possible, so that way, neither one of us is just kind of like, if we perform it live, just kind of like standing off in the corner awkwardly for the majority of the song. But you usually can feel it out based on the way the song is flowing, the vibe of the song. We can be like, okay, yeah, this feels like a rap part. Let's make this rap and let's have it be rap for this long. And then it's like 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100, chorus is pretty much just going to be singing. Um, and that's pretty much how we get there.
Oh, fair enough. And people will want to be seeing you doing these tracks live and on stage. And you've got a little bit of downtime before a very busy fair few months. I bet you can't wait to be on the road again.
Yeah, it's going to be good. We're excited about coming to Europe. This is something we've been wanting to do for a long time, but the band really reformed itself in 2017, toured for 2 years, COVID hit, and then that would lasted for almost 2 years, and then we toured for 2 more years, and then it was like, I think it was 2025. I was like, well, we've got to get a record done. Let's get that done. And now it's like our first opportunity to really put in effort to get over to Europe. And now this will stand as a test to see how well we do, and then it'll allow us to have a bigger footprint and to tour more in Europe. And the shows are, well, it looks like they're all going to sell out, so we're pretty excited about that.
Good. Yeah, that sounds good. And you've got your own shows, but you've also got support slots with Black Veil Brides and Shinedown as well. How do you cater your sets depending on whether you're the lead or whether you're supporting
Yeah.
two kind of somewhat different bands? How do you cater your
Mhm.
sets?
Yeah, the one thing that we cater to is time, so we only have so much time to play so many songs on support sets. So like something like with Shinedown, at its tight, we get 30 minutes where we're like scratching our heads being like, well, we can't cut this song, we can't cut that song. That part's tough. On a tour with Black Veil, it's probably gonna be like 45 minutes, something like that, and we get to play like 9, 10 songs. And and even then, it's starting to get a little bit difficult to pick and choose. But as far as like catering our sound, we go out and we just do what we feel like we're gonna love and what people are gonna love and what represents the band.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I know you're not going to drop what your set list is going to be, but you must have tracks that you're like, okay, first track down, we're definitely doing this one. Is there ones that you know you're going to always finish with and have to put in, or is it like you said, with 30 minutes, it's
Yeah,
really difficult?
yeah. I think songs that'll always be in there are gonna be like Panic and Through It All and Barely Breathing, probably. Those are, I think, are three that I can confidently say they're always going to be in there. And then there are certain songs where it's like, okay, we know this song is going to be in our set through this entire album cycle. Maybe it won't be in it after that. Like, a song like Nightmare was like really, really great for us and almost always opened our set for like the last few years. And now we're starting to get to a point where it's like, well, we've got all these new songs and we've got all these heavy hitters from the older albums. Like, we might have to start considering taking this song out finally.
Mm. Yeah, tough decisions ahead, I am
Yep.
sure. But that is going to take us towards what looks like the end of August at the moment, apart from a couple of dates. What's the fall and the rest of this year going to hold after that?
Yeah. So we're probably going to be home for September, for the most of September. And then we're hoping to, it depends on what comes across our desk, and what opportunities are presented to us. But we're hoping that we can do more international shows. So whether that's Europe or Australia, we kind of have to wait and see, because it's still pretty far out for right now. So the idea is to go abroad, though. And that would be great.
Yeah, no, for sure. Is there anywhere that you've not been to yet that you want to get to at some point?
Japan. Got to get to Japan. Obviously Europe too, but that is happening. So I can't say that because it's going to happen in a month. So otherwise, I would say Europe too. But Japan is a big one that I'd like to go to.
Yeah, no, that sounds good to me. And I'd like to talk about show day as well. So for you personally, talk us through what a show day looks like for you from the moment you get up until the show is
Yeah,
over.
yeah. So I like to sleep in. That is the most underrated way to take care of your voice. If you can sleep for 10 hours, do it. You want to be as fresh as you can be. Um, So I'll get up, kind of scope out what the vicinity looks like. Try to find a bathroom. That's always a fun thing, is like trying to figure out where the nearest bathroom is that you can use. And then we'll usually look for some food spots in the area. We got a sound check at some point though, so we'll usually do that first. We'll sound check, make sure everything's in order, sign posters, everything that we need to sign for VIP, get that ready, and then we go and find a food spot. Or if it's a workout day for me, I'll hit the gym. Sometimes that comes after VIP. It depends on how much time we've got, but then we hit VIP, hang out with people. That always goes really well. And then it's either gym or dinner, or one right after the other. And then get changed, hair done, get ready, start warming up, getting the voice ready. And then we hit showtime. And then it's showers and wind down, maybe get a late night snack, rinse and repeat.
Sounds pretty classic to what most is like, I must admit. But
Yeah.
obviously, when the show is kind of just about to happen, you must have some things that you must do, or is there anything that you cannot do just before you step out on stage?
Yeah, I know a lot of people have rules about food, and it's like obviously you don't want to eat something crazy heavy before you go on because that's just going to sit heavy in you and not feel great. But I don't put any restrictions on myself with any kind of like beverages or food for the most part. I know obviously not to just go and pig out. Um, but I pretty much just warm up and make sure my voice is ready to go. That's really the main thing. That's what matters most. So um, that's definitely my have to do is my warm ups.
And I hope you enjoyed the interview there with From Ashes to New to talk about their new record and more. Now, we are all over social media, so come and find us at The Sound Lab, yes, on all the socials. You can also check out the website, thesoundlabuk.co.uk. So while you go and find us on all the socials and give us some follows, we've got our next interview from Makes My Blood Dance. They've been busy releasing some new music and they're out on tour as well very soon. And we had a chat with them all about it. So Makes My Blood Dance, how are you?
Welcome to talking to me. Thank you for having me.
Great start. Love it. Keeping that in. Yeah, really nice to chat to you. We've been playing a single of yours called Black Summer. Tell us a bit about the single, first of all.
First of all, that song is absolutely grown on me. I love it. It started off where a certain celebrity, who I probably should name it because I don't like to get into these online disputes, but she sent us some lyrics. She heard some of our music in the studio, sent us some lyrics, and really wanted to get involved and do like a collaboration. And because she was the celebrity, I thought, okay, let's see if we can make something interesting of this. So John and I are, the co-writers on everything pretty much. And we took some of her words and it inspired that song. That song it's about like a spurned love relationship. And it's also about finding your own strength. And I sort of love that second part. And so I sort of rolled with it. We wound up writing the song. We loved it. We presented it to her. And then she came back and said that she didn't want a single word of her lyrics changed. And she started taking full control of the whole thing. And we just said, hey, we're off to a bad start. So I wound up changing any words having to do with what she had come up with and rewrote the whole thing. And then we got it down. I will say that Brett Mazer, who's one of our co-producers on this record, he did some incredible things with the arrangement of it just to make it so punchy, like in that chorus. And it's become a real staple in the live set. People love it. And, I think without being too long-winded, I think the key is just to keep creating, right? And not get hung up in where, how, who. That kills a lot of creativity. And I've experienced that in past projects. And so that's Black Summer.
Fair enough. Yeah, nice. And I believe that's coming off a debut record of yours. Tell us how it's sounding at the moment.
So late in 2025, we signed with Metropolis Records, who have been excellent so far. And the full-length record is coming out hopefully this summer. That's also seen delays from another celebrity collab that we did on the record. And there's all this kind of red tape, but we just keep plowing forward. We're touring like crazy. We have Makes My Blood Dance has 78 confirmed tour dates in 2026 alone. We've done 20 of them already. We're about to head out on a full national US tour with Power Man 5000 and 12 Stones. And we're playing mostly a lot of the songs off our new upcoming record. We're also playing a couple like crowd pleasers that just refuse to go away because, and that's Together Apart and Communion. You can check those out on our Spotify. There's a cool video for Together Apart on our YouTube. Black Summer, by the way, also has a video coming out April 8th. So if you're listening to this now or after that, check it out on our YouTube. Yeah, we just keep adding tour dates. We're very excited. There's more to be announced.
Yeah, you've done a fair few already. How have they been going down?
Really good. We went out the beginning of the year with Smile Empty Soul and Primer 55, and their crowd and the whole vibe of it really embraced us. We had a fantastic time. We hung out all night. We made so many new friends and fans. And those were great shows. They were very well attended. I just got a call from their agent yesterday. They might be going out again, and they would consider taking us again. I hope it works because we're starting to fill up our schedule. But that's just a good sign when the tours go well and they want you back. And then yeah, the next chapter right now is this Power Man and 12 Stones tour, which is 28 dates across the entire country. Um, and we actually went out with Power Man last year in 2025. We toured with them and Julie and Kay on the West Coast only. It was just 12 dates. But that obviously went really well because they're having us back. So we're very excited to go again. And Power Man's, they're great guys, and that crowd is a lot of fun.
Yeah, you must have done something right to be invited back. Um,
Right.
and with all your tour days that you've done and still to come, what is currently released seems to just be North America at the moment. Are you hoping to come overseas and over to here at some point?
Absolutely. The trick is finding the right tours and the right packages. And I've been doing a lot of networking with different agencies in the US and Europe. A lot of players know who we are. But at the end of the day, every tour is like a small business, and they're looking at the economics, they're looking at what works. We were talking to an agent about doing a tour in November in Europe. It was all of Eastern Europe, 25 dates with a pretty well-known band. Um, but that band has members that are in another even bigger band. and there was a conflict, so the tour got pushed to January of 2027. And then I just checked in with the agent this week, and now that tour is in March of 2027. So that's how these work. They're 8 months to a year ahead, and it keeps changing also. And then when it changes, we jump on something else. And we're very keen on going to Europe, and we're talking to a lot of different players to see, but we're sort of the new kids, right, on the street, because our record still isn't even out. We just started all this momentum and this online buzz in the last couple years with our music videos and our touring. So a lot of what's come and that you're seeing now is the US, because that's where we're from. We're based out of Brooklyn, New York. But we're starting to get some really strong fan bases across the US, and different places where I guess we're making an impact online with the music videos, right? Time and a Place, our music video has 640,000 views. That's not just the US.
Yeah, no, they're looking good, those stats, and the videos are quite important. But one thing I do like to talk about is writing. So I like to find out a bit about writing process, and for you, how tracks normally start off.
So John Christian is the lead guitarist and programmer, and myself, we co-write most of everything except Time and a Place. We co-wrote that with our producer Brett Mazer, which is a great song, and we hope to do more. But typically, John and I will talk about a direction. I am always listening to music. I'm sending him influences. I'm like, check out the beats, or the dub effects, or the EDM, or the guitar riff on this song. Like, I'm always trying to inspire him, and then he'll sort of write something and send it to me, and then I work on it in my home studio and lay down the vocals and lyrics. And we learned to do this mostly during the pandemic, when we were forced to level up and really improve our home studios and our software and our ability to work remotely. And we sort of have this process of ping-ponging the song back and forth a bunch of times. And we've generated this sort of, it's very organic, because I've been in bands when frankly, they're dicks, and it's been very difficult to be inspired, right? So instead of saying no, or I don't like this, we have this process of saying yes. And the yes is like, I'm going to go with this, even though it's not anything what I thought you were going to send based on our discussions. But I am going to make it my own. And that's the end, right? And so you develop more of a creative, nurturing environment, and it completely removes like the ego, and it's made us extremely prolific. So I look at every song that John sends me as a challenge, right? How can I make this into something phenomenal? And that's how I do it. Yeah, So we just wrote a song now. We're off tour. We have about half, I think, of our next record already sort of written and demoed, and we produced them to a pretty high level ourselves. But I like that, because all these things take forever, and then, well, I mentioned you when we go out live, we play most of our new record, a couple of like the stuff that was before the new record, and then we actually slide in one song every set and rotate it of brand new stuff that we're road testing. And the reason for that is that we want to get good at playing them. You discover new things you want to do with the song when you're playing it live with the full group. And you get crowd feedback. You kind of see what's hitting. And I find all that valuable. And it is really valuable to play it with Spacey Baby on bass and G-Rex on the drums and the beats, because they do add their own flair to it, and they give us feedback, of course, and we love them, so that they're part of the team.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the two of you, when it comes to the writing, it is obviously quite collaborative, but when it comes to the lyrics side of things, is it quite straightforward to add it to the music that's created?
I will say the lyrics are mostly 100% me, but and a lot of it is personal, but like that one, like Black Summer, I told you there was another influence there. I that wasn't a direction I typically take, and I embraced it. But still, even that, I got to make it my own. I can't. Yeah. We have a song on our upcoming record, which is a cover. It's a disco metal cover, our version of a song that was written by Macy Gray, who is an iconic R&B, soulful, rockin' legend. And even that one, I picked that song off her 2010 album. It was kind of a buried track. It wasn't one of her big hits. And the reason I picked it is because I identified with the story of it.
Has she heard it?
She has heard it, and that's a whole other story. She's heard it. She loves it. We have the same producer. I actually got her to sing on it, and she sang on it, and we're trying to get the version released with her voice on it. But that is part of the reason why our record's kind of like that. I'm dealing with that now, and there's managers involved and there's people involved, and I don't want to complain, but I'm complaining. It takes time to get these things done. It's annoying, but I love Macy and I love the song. If we can't figure it out, then we're going to release a version where it's just me singing on it. It's still an incredible song that we play live and blow the roof off the house every night. And maybe we'll hear the version with Macy on it at a later time as a single or something else. But this is welcome to the music business. This is a lot of what happens that people don't hear about. It takes forever. And from my point of view, yeah, I'm involved a lot in the business side of this band and certainly the creative side, but my heart is with the creative side and touring and performing and being with our fans. So if I don't care. Let's get it going and let's go forward.
And I hope you enjoyed the interview there with Makes My Blood Dance to talk about new music and more. Now, if you're listening to us on Spotify, then you'll be pleased to hear we also have a Spotify playlist. It brings you 150 brand new up-and-coming artists that we feel like you might just enjoy yourselves. And if you want to check that out, search Fresh by The Sound Lab on Spotify or head to the website thesoundlabuk.co.uk and click on the Fresh playlist button. So while you go and do that, we've got our next interview from Macy. She too has been busy releasing some new music. We had a chat with her all about it. So Macy, how are you?
Hey, yeah, I'm really good, thank you. How are you?
Good, yeah, not too bad. Thanks so much. So we've been playing a single of yours called Please Keep Talking. Tell us a little bit about the single, first of all.
Oh, well, thank you so much for playing it, first of all. I really appreciate it. I actually wrote this song around 3 years ago. I feel like my music has changed throughout the years, and I just knew that I had to keep it away and I had to save it for the time I thought was right to release it. And 2026 was the year. Because it is a little bit different. It's a little bit like I'm a people pleaser, so I don't like to really tell people to shut up. So I must have been going through a stage 3 years ago where I was just annoyed at people, but there we are. So yeah, it's like I said, I wrote it 3 years ago, and then I was going through my demos and I was like, do you know what? Like I've taken a little bit more of a darker route with my music lately. And I just felt like it was the right time. And I was like, everyone has been in this situation at some point where, they just want someone to stop talking, but they can't show it on their face.
Well, I don't mind if you keep talking. That's fine by me.
Oh, I'm so glad.
And you've now released a few singles since your last EP back in 2023. Are we now gearing up towards another bigger body of work?
Yes, so I've been doing standalone singles just so, just to see what that was like. And it's gone down quite well. But yeah, I'm working towards something a little bit bigger now.
Nice, nice. Can't wait for that. And I like to talk about the writing process as well. So for you, how do tracks normally start off?
Well, to be honest, it depends when working with. So if I've like booked in with a producer and then we're down to write a track that day, they usually send me like some ideas so I can like top line over them. Or I just put some ideas down myself on Logic. So like if I think of some chords and I think they go well, so I just put them down and then I'll write some lyrics over them. Or like I could watch like a TV show and just write like a verse and a chorus without the sound. It's really weird. It's such a like weird process.
Yeah, no, I can well imagine. And the world of lyrics and the world of music are two very different things. How straightforward and easy do you find it to kind of merge the two worlds together?
Well, to be honest, I'm really lucky because I work with some really talented producers. And if I've got like an idea, they kind of just like they just know what I'm thinking and like what I want to do. And I think, yeah, and I think when you merge them, if you're working with someone really, really good as well, it really does help. But it can be complicated, I guess, because if I've got like a rhythm in my head and I can't actually like I can't actually, sing the guitar and sing the piano if I haven't got it on me. It's hard, but yeah, I'm really lucky they just get me.
And when you go in with other people, producers and that, how much do you go in with ready? Do you have lyrics and a melody and music kind of ready to go, or how does it work?
Yeah. So I actually got like on my notes, just random like words and lyrics. So like I could just be at walking or, just in the shops and I can just like come up with some lyrics in my head and I'll just put them into my notes. So like we kind of go down them sometimes if I'm a little bit stuck or if I'm playing around on YouTube, you can like get like backing tracks, for example, that's not an artist. And I kind of just write over them and then I take them to the studio and like I say I want to do something like this, or it's a little bit like that. But like I said, it depends what I'm working with, I suppose. But usually I get the lyrics first and then just go from there.
Yeah, fair enough. And when the sound that you are currently at, you've said has changed over the years, do you feel like you're in a place where you want to be, or is there still scope for you to try new things and see where it takes you?
To be honest, I just feel like because I've grown up with my music, I feel like my sound has like matured throughout the years. So I feel like that's kind of the vibe I've gone for. And like I listen to a bit of everything. So you never know, I could do a bit of country one day. I'm always open to anything, to be honest. Like obviously I'm a pop girly through and through, but I feel like with pop you can go so many different ways. So yeah, I'm very open, but at the moment I'm loving like the dark kind of pop disco like vibes.
Yeah, absolutely. And with music coming out and more to come, people will want to see you doing some live stuff. What's your plan for this year and doing some shows?
Yes, so I've got a few festivals lined up. On the 29th of March, I'm performing at the Newport Trail Festival, which seems really cool. Like a lot of the musicians from the area are performing at it, so I think that'll be really nice to, to hook up and collaborate. And then on the 9th of April, I'm performing a show for under 16s, which will be really cool, in Barry Island, in Cardiff. And then the 20th, so I'm reeling these dates off now and I'm just proud of myself for remembering. And then the 25th of May, I'm at In It Together Festival in Margam Park. And then I've got a few that I can't announce yet.
Nice. Yeah, no, sounds good to me. And you hoping to do a tour at some point or a support tour with someone this year?
Yeah, 100%. The goal is to like do a mini tour. it's just getting the funding at the moment. Like it's, it's expensive to be a musician, and like, yeah, I think as soon as that funding comes in, hopefully fingers crossed, I'll be able to do like a mini tour, and I'm manifesting supporting someone like on an arena tour, and I think that would be amazing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. They like the newer artists kind of opening for them, don't they? Especially
Yeah,
in Cardiff near you.
yeah, and like, that's I'm so lucky because they are going for more like local artists in the area, which is really nice.
Yeah, and I'm sure you'll want to play overseas at some point. Is there anywhere you really want to go and play at some point?
Yeah, 100%. I would, well, I played Canada last year, which was amazing. That was just like unreal. It was so good. But yeah, 100%. I'd love to like play in like Paris. I think that would be so cool. I love Paris. Yeah, anyway, really. I'm up for anything. I just want to perform everywhere, all over the world.
Yeah, I can well imagine. And you must have some aspirations of things you want to achieve. What's one thing you really want to do?
Obviously a Macy World tour. That is like obviously like the top goal. And to be able to just like songwrite with people like Harry Styles and just like that would be so fun. That is my manifestation. My journaling's coming out now. Mm.
I can tell what music you used to listen to as a child now. And I'd like to talk a bit about show day as well. So, talk us through what a show day is like for you from the moment you wake up in the morning until after the show has finished.
Ooh, so I love a show day. Obviously, like I like to be very chill and calm before going to sound check. So like in the morning, I'll get up at like a reasonable time, say like 8:30, 9. So I get a little bit of a lie in to prepare myself for the late night because I'm such a nan at the minute. And then I like to do some meditation. I like to feel really like grounded before a show. So yeah, I start my day off with that, and then obviously I'm steaming throughout the day, like with my steamer, honey and lemon, everything like that. And then obviously sound check, which is really fun. So me and the band go down to sound check. We do our thing, and then we always go for like some food after sound check, which is really nice as well because I feel like it's nice to spend time with each other in that way, not just rehearsals and on stage. And then yeah, perform, do the show, and it's one of my favorite things to do. About like that is my literal like favorite thing about being an artist is getting to perform my music to the crowds, and just yeah, meeting so many people on a show day is so fun. um so yeah, and then after the show we like to go to a karaoke bar. Depending on where we are, but it's like kind of a tradition now that we head to a karaoke bar after the show and we all get to have a little sing song.
Do you have much voice left at that point?
To be honest, this is the thing. So with that karaoke, I can't take it seriously. And my friends say this to me all the time. I'm like, I can't do karaoke like unless, I've had a drink or anything. And I just feel like I just like let loose and just sing whatever. Like I'll be singing Whitney Houston. I can't sing Whitney Houston. But I'll be going for it.
Yeah, no, sounds interesting. I think you should do a
It
cover at some point and play it for us all.
is very interesting.
And just before you step on stage, is there anything that you have to do, or is there anything that you have to kind of not do, kind of just before you step on stage?
Um, it depends kind of what venue I'm playing or where I'm playing. So like when I did the stadium, the Principality Stadium, I had to just go and sit myself for like 10 minutes and just like hype myself up on my own. I just feel like I had to have that time to really get into the zone. Like I obviously love being around like my team and like my band, but I just had to take a moment to like take it all in and just get like ready and grounded. And then obviously if I'm playing like a venue like locally, I guess I just watch like the sport act. I just warm my voice up in the crowd. I like to be there to watch the sport act. I think that's like, it's just nice to kind of support them as well because they're supporting you in a way. So yeah.
And I hope you enjoyed the interview there with Macy to talk about new music and more. Now, if you are loving all of today's interviews, then you can hear them all again on our Future Hits radio show in an edited form alongside a load of new music and a live session too. And if you want to check that out alongside all the other radio shows that we do, which includes Christmas and pop punk, check out the website thesoundlabuk.co.uk and click International Radio Shows. So while you go and do that, we've got our final new interview, and it comes from Gary Marks. He's got a new album out this week, and we had a chat with him all about it. So, Gary Marks, how are you?
I am fine. How are you, Jim?
Not too bad, thanks so much. So, coming up on April the 18th, you are releasing a brand new record called Crossroads. Tell us a bit about the album release.
Well, Crossroads has been selected by RSD to be one of the albums for 2026. And it's 14 songs. 9 of them have never been heard by the general public before. And the theme is social political lyrics. So all the lyrics are either talking about the internal questioning of the mind or the external questioning of the politics of the current culture and the world.
Yeah, nice. And the sound that you've made with this record, is it the sound you wanted, or is it kind of just how it turned out as you were putting it together?
Well, we chose the songs really carefully. Lantern Records was involved, and they've been fantastic, by the way. And so the songs go in a chronological order on each side. So the first songs on each side are from 1976. And then it goes all the way into the 2000s and 2020s for each side. But some of the songs, like I said, 9 of them were unreleased. The other 5 are from my first 3 albums that have been re-released a number of times in Europe and Japan. But the theme for all the songs is socio-political themes lyrically.
Nice. Yeah, nice. Is there a particular favorite track that you've got on this record that you really can't wait for people to hear, especially for the first time?
You know, every song I've ever recorded, if it wasn't my favorite song, I would have thrown it in the garbage can. I just can't put something on there that I think people will laugh at 10 years later or 20 years later. So, I'm pretty serious about that. And I love all the songs.
Yeah, no, good. And tell us a bit about the writing process for you. So when it comes to writing a track, what is it that normally that kicks things off when it comes to writing?
Well, I always write the music first. Almost always. I've been an exception a few times. I can't believe the way Elton John used to write. He'd like get a letter in the mail from Bernie Taupin and start playing it. I mean, I can't do that. So I would write some music that I thought was really great, just as the music itself. And then I would, I'm a novel writer also. So I would just basically take the first line and say, well, what would be the great first line for a really good novel that would hook people in? And then I just go from there.
Nice. And you obviously probably know this better than most when it comes to writing music, that the lyrics world and the music world are very different. How do you find kind of combining the two?
Well, the music is sort of like the backdrop to a play. And so all the scenes are there and all the costumes are there, and then I just have to fill in the dialogue. But I make sure that the lyrics, actually, I'll tell you something really important for songwriters, because I'm also a teacher. Let's say you're writing a song and it has a lot of minor chords in it. The last thing a songwriter should do lyrically is write a sad song. So I call it like a lyrical counterpoint. So where you don't want to get, if you start writing sad lyrics to a sad music, it gets schmaltzy really fast. So I try and make the lyrics kind of emotionally more neutral. And then if I have a really major happy song, I try not to get completely ADHD and start talking about how wonderful everything is. It's counterpoint, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. And you have been writing and releasing music for many years now. How have you and how has the music evolved over those years?
Well, the first things that started happening for me when I was 19 and 20 was that I was trying to learn just the basic chords and everything on guitar. And I had a very interesting songwriting lesson, the only songwriting lesson I've ever had from my mom, because she was a classical violinist. and she turned me on to Ray Charles and Dylan and Joni Mitchell and the Beatles. I mean, she was really into music. So when I played my first song for her, I asked her what she thought, and she said, "That's terrible." And I said, "Why?" And she said, "Well, you're writing songs to your limitations on the instrument. You're not able to follow the dream of the song. You don't have the capabilities physically, so learn more about your instrument. And as far as the lyrics are concerned, you may be in love with this girl, and it's really nice that you guys are together. I'm happy for you, but you don't know what it's like being left. That's not it. And so why don't you write about what you know about baseball and dreams and parents and school and keep it real?" So that was my only songwriting lesson, and I thought it was very good. And then from there, after my first album, Gathering, was pretty successful, I looked in the mirror one day and said, "My God, it's really cool that you're a minstrel and you don't know how to read music and you're playing with all these great jazz players. But at 50, it's pitiful. You got to learn more." So I started taking piano lessons from the phenomenal jazz pianist in the band, Michael Cochran. And then I took lessons from Art Landy a couple of years later, who's one of the greatest jazz players in the world. And so as my musical abilities grew, my writing grew. And then at a certain point, I just said, "Okay, I've studied. I understand how to play these instruments to some degree." And I just started devolving back into my rock roots and using all that information as a backdrop, but just getting more into rock. But I was using jazz players in my band and
How did
writing
that
rock.
work?
Well, it worked great because the jazz players weren't just guys gigging around town. They were John Scofield and Paul McCandless and Mark Isham and David Samuels, and I mean, they were just unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah.
They turned out to be some of the greatest jazz players in the world, but when we were in our early 20s, we didn't know that. We just formed a band and we're doing our thing.
Yeah.
We
No,
weren't really a
yeah.
band, by the way. Well, I just every time I was ready to do a record, I'd call them and they'd say, "Yeah, let's do it." So they were on the recording. We did play a few gigs, but not many.
Yeah, I believe you've stopped touring now. Do you think you'll ever get back to being on the road?
Oh no. No, that was the best decision I ever made. Uh, it's just a burnout. And then you have all these people, fortunately with Lantern Records, they're like, "Hey, we love your music. Let's put an album together." With more kind of major labels, they're like, "Okay, can you write a little bit more commercially? We're going to sign a contract. If the album does well, you can be on the road for up to 9 months." I'm like, "No." So I couldn't do that. So no, I'm not going to tour.
Fair enough. No, fair enough. You touched on being a writer as well, and there's a new book of yours, The Dance and the Diamond Sky. Tell us a bit about the book.
Well, The Dance in the Diamond Sky comes from a lyric from Bob Dylan and Tambourine Man. And it's a story about 1969, about 2026 America, because the similarities are frighteningly similar. But I don't sit there and kind of punch people in the mouth with that kind of stuff. It's really a coming of age story about a group of friends, college age kids who are forced to make decisions they never should have to make at that age because of the government corruption and the war in Vietnam. And they make those decisions, and they make different decisions, but none of them are wrong. It's just basically about how they worked through that time as kind-hearted people doing their best. The ending is pretty wild and shocking, but I think readers will relate to it and love it. And yeah, it's a really cool book.
Good. I believe you've written 12 novels now, but they cover a whole number of different genres. What is it that kind of sparks the story that you're going to write?
Well, it kind of alludes to what I was saying before. Because I play improvisation on piano, that's the way I practice. Someday I'll just sit down at the computer and I'll write a sentence. I have no outline. And if the sentence sounds like a really cool sentence to start a novel with, I just write the next sentence and just keep working it out. And then characters appear, and then I just kind of follow what they want to do. And I'm like, really? You're going to do that? Oh my God, no. And then, then 100 pages later, an ending shows up. It's like watching a movie I don't know. I'm just writing it down.
And I hope you enjoyed the interview there with Gary Marks to talk about new music and more. Now, this is the part of the show where we like to throw back in time, and we're going all the way back to 2014, where I interviewed the wonderful Taylor Momsen of The Pretty Reckless, and let's just say it was a car crash. But I'm going to play it to you in full and unedited, of course, so here we go from Taylor Momsen of The Pretty Reckless in 2014. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you, man?
I'm alright, thanks. What's been going on with you guys over the last month or so?
Oh, lots and lots of touring. Kind of endlessly. It's been awesome, though. The shows have been fantastic. We just finished a giant North American run, and now we're over in the UK, and we go back to the States and make a video for Follow Me Down, which is the next single over there, and then more touring, and going out with Nickelback in February, and it's the never-ending cycle of rock and roll. It's awesome.
Any highlights from over the summer so far?
Have we met?
Have we?
Yeah, have we met you?
I don't know. Yeah, you do seem very familiar.
No, I haven't seen you before, no.
Okay.
You just have a familiar face then.
Hopefully that's a good thing.
It is. Highlights of the summer. We got to play with Soundgarden in Quebec, which we opened for them, and up to 90,000 people, and that was probably the highlight. I'm a massive Soundgarden fan, but we've had so many great shows, from like Download to Isle of Wight, Rock and Ring, Rock and Park, a festival in the States called Rock on the Range was great, and then headlining. It's been a whirlwind of a year, but a great one.
So you haven't
the number one rock song in America for the year was.
Oh yeah, no, we just found that out. We have the official number one rock song of the year. Heaven knows, and in America, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a beer, man.
I'd love a beer. That'd be amazing.
Corona.
Corona's great. Thanks. So you're coming towards the end of your UK tour. What's your plan after that?
Well, I kind of just said you're gonna break your hand. Plans. We're going. Can you do it with a lighter?
No.
Can you do it with a ring?
No, I can do it. I just can't get my hand on it.
Anyway, we're going back. We're filming a video.
Thanks.
Good job, Ben. We're going back. We're making a video for Follow Me Down. Is the next thing lined up, and then a little bit of a break.
Just release House on a Hill.
And we did just release House on the Hill here.
Or I can use the bottle opener.
That would work.
I didn't know that was there. I've been smacking my hand all day long. So yeah, videos, and then more touring and writing, and starting to get ready for the next record, and it's all good.
When do you think the next record will be out? Some point next year?
That's an interesting question. No,
It's good enough.
yeah, when it's written, recorded, and good enough to actually put out, because we got to beat this one.
Okay.
That is the goal. But we are doing an acoustic record of Going to Hell that should be out relatively soon. I don't have a date yet, but it's kind of the songwriter demo versions of the songs, so you get to kind of hear them in their original state before we brought the band in.
I also know you do some acting.
Well, I don't anymore.
You don't anymore?
No, I quit 7 years ago.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
What? Obviously, I'll probably guess the answer now. But which do you prefer, acting or singing?
Take a wild guess.
Yeah, take a guess. No, acting was always just kind of a job for me, and I started at 2, so once I got old enough to kind of realized I could make my own decisions, I quit and have been playing in a band and just doing that since. It's fucking great.
And I'm not sure if people know, but you were the girl in the Grinch, weren't you?
Yeah, I was 5. Also, my first recording studio was in that with James Horner, and I recently came across an old photograph of me sitting at the console with him, and I have the exact same expression of listening to the music that I do now when I sit there at the console listening to our records. So it was actually kind of a crazy picture.
So is that how you got into music then? Was that kind of like the kickstart?
I mean, I was already into it before that. You have the lighter. Yeah, you do. You have the lighter. I don't have it. You have it. I don't have one. You took it from me.
Bro, do you have a lighter?
I don't have it. You have it.
I don't.
I told you.
Come on, I'll give you a bit. Sorry.
No, I mean, I was into music before that, but that was the first recording studio I worked in at 5. But no, I grew up listening to my dad's vinyl collection, so it was, the Beatles from the day I was brought home from the hospital, and fell in love.
Excellent. So finally, if people wanted to get hold of your music or find out more about you, where can they go and do that?
Sorry, say that again? I just spaced for a second.
If people wanted to find out more about you or get hold of your music, where can they go?
Well, you can go to iTunes. You can go to record stores that still exist. You can go to my Twitter, which is just my name. It's @TaylorMomsen, or the band Twitter is TPR Official. Sorry, there's a whole joke happening over here. And Facebook, I don't know. It's all the normal websites and things, or you can steal it. Because I don't care. Just
Illegal downloads. Woo.
Illegal downloads. Woo! Just personally, my favorite is the vinyl. So if you can get your hands on the vinyl of Going to Hell, that was the highlight of the year and of my life. Was getting the vinyl, because it just sounds better. A, and B, you have a physical fucking thing that you can hold in your hands, and the photographs. It's a piece of art, opposed to something you can click on a computer screen. So I'd recommend the vinyl personally.
And I hope you enjoyed the interview there with Taylor Momsen of The Pretty Reckless from 2014. And that's the end of the show for another week, I am afraid. But don't you worry, we will be back next week. But if you can't wait until then, social media at The Sound Lab, yes, on all the socials. Make sure you check out the website at thesoundlabuk.co.uk. And we'll be back next week for another episode of Interviews Unedited. Goodbye.